I will turn the meeting over to Dr. McGuire, the chairperson of the committee, along with Mr. Greedy and Ms. Mulder, the members of the CDBC committee. Dr. McGuire, it's all yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have the bill today for Bicentennial Park land swap. Mr. Hannon, could you please read the document?
The R34 authorizes the administration to enter a land swap with Lehigh Northampton Transportation Authority, and they get a little property, and we get some of the left field back.
All right, that's it. Perhaps, maps. You want to show? Yes. Okay. Thank you.
This is the same map that is up on the board. It shows a land swap between Lanta and the city in regards to Bicentennial Park. The city would receive these areas in blue, about 0.2 acres. Sure. It is the same. We would give up the area in yellow, which is 0.02 acres. So we would be receiving 10 times what we are giving up. We would be receiving the land that makes up left field, as well as making this little area down here, which is the parking area, squaring that up and making this more of a straight line. The reason being is Lanta is doing some expansion at their site for fueling and maintenance purposes. And they require a little bit of area, and at the same time, we would just like to clean it up and make it more reminiscent of what's actually occurring at the site, rather than having the lines go through the outfield and then curving back here into the parking lot.
Would it be fair to say that this is a form of simple straightening of street lines?
Property lines, yes.
Does this affect any parking problems, issues that are there?
No, it really doesn't. Right now, the people who are parking for the baseball games or at that site, they park in Lanta's area and along that whole area. They won't be able to park in the area that is currently Lanta's anymore because it will be developed. But this will actually give them a little bit additional area to park. Not much, but it won't alleviate any parking concerns in that area, but it shouldn't make them worse either. This particular land swap will actually improve what would otherwise be an even more detrimental situation if they were to develop the site without the land swap occurring.
Okay. Any comment from committee members?
Please. I'm obviously all for Lanta, and I'd like to see them prosper. However, my comment goes to, is anybody here from Bicentennial to make sure that, well, you represent the Bicentennial?
We're representing the city, which owns Bicentennial Park.
And your indication is that, because I also heard about the parking issues.
Yeah.
I hear that there's really not that much parking, and now taking some land, and not being able to park in land, where are people going to park?
Well, that is a concern. Either way, if this land swap occurs or does not occur, that won't impact that parking situation because they're going to develop the site one way or the other. This will just make the development occur easier and give them the room they need to do it in a more responsible manner, really. It'll allow it to be a smooth process. But if this doesn't occur, they're still going to develop the site, and we would actually lose this blue section of parking here too. So it's not many spots, but if you look here,
Excuse me, why would we lose it if it's ours?
it's not ours.
Oh,
This
that's
blue will become ours. Right now, the property line runs right here.
Okay, so only the yellow part you said is ours.
This yellow part is the only part that we'll be losing,
But-
and that isn't parking.
Okay.
That's
But
just-
are they gonna develop on the what is that, the northern side?
They're gonna, on the eastern side, right here.
Eastern side, how about
Yep.
the yellow part? Are they gonna develop there as well? I mean, the blue part on the top?
No, the blue part will become ours. That will be, this is left field. This is inside Bicentennial Park, so this is actually part of left field, which is owned by Lanta right now.
Okay. I'm trying to figure out if there's a way that we can develop for parking there.
Well, they're probably, I mean, what we've discussed with Public Works is redesigning the parking that's there to make it more efficient and maximize the number of spots. Is that gonna be enough for everything that happens at Bicentennial Park? It's not, but this is an urban park and there's just not a whole lot of room to develop more parking spots in that area. This here is all owned by Lanta. At any time, they could shut it down to parking up to this point because it hasn't been developed. They've been willing to let people park there, but it's not, this land swap isn't gonna impact it in one way or the other than it will gain a little bit of parking here. But if you look at these parking spots, I mean, that's probably 10 spots. But it's 10 spots.
10 spots so we can develop.
That will be more than we have
And
now.
the other one, the blue part on the top, we can, you say that is developable? as
No,
well?
it's actually left field, it's part of the playing
Oh, it is,
field.
but, oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, so this actually right here is actually left field, and it just happens to be on Lanta property.
Mm, okay.
How wide is the area that they're getting if we follow through on this? I can't read it on here, obviously. Do you know the width of that?
Yeah, I'm looking here, it looks like it's about 30 feet. This here, so that's actually probably about 15 to 20 feet.
Wide. Okay, thank you.
So we're getting, you saying, several times more than what they're giving, that we're giving up.
10 times more.
10 times more.
We're getting 0.2 acres and we're giving up 0.02.
Okay.
So it's definitely a net gain for us.
Any further comments from my colleagues?
I'm not on the committee, but, so we're not losing, we're losing parking.
No, not because of this land swap. We are losing parking because Lanta's gonna develop their site. They already own it. They've been allowing people to park
Yes,
there. They own it, they've just allowed people to park there for years. But they're gonna develop the site anyways, they have to expand, they need the maintenance and fueling areas. And we have someone here from Lanta if you would like to discuss it with him. It's gonna be developed either way, we're gonna lose that parking one way or the other, even if this land swap didn't occur. The city actually proposed this land swap to Lanta to clean up the boundary areas and to ensure that we have left field. Because if Lanta wanted to, they could demand that we demolish left field and allow them to develop it.
Yeah, that was kind of maybe talked about a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just personally, I just want to see if we can develop, and you're saying only 10 spots.
10 spots there, but we might be able to use this more effectively and maybe redesign the parking lot to make sure we have as many as we can. It's probably not gonna be as many, I mean, right now, even utilizing this for parking, there's people parking on the streets for the games. I mean, that's just what happens. I mean, we really have to look off-site to see if there's another location for parking, and when you look at a lot of these parcels, they're pretty small parcels, so even if we were able to obtain one, we're gonna put, another 10 parking spots in there, so we really would have to find a nice big parcel that just happens to be in the area.
Well, I mean, I obviously would like to make sure that we accommodate land as much as possible, they provide a service that is well needed in our community, especially for those people who are low on income and have cars.
Right.
But if we can continue the partnership and probably figure out a way that we can, have more parking in the area that is not being developed, perhaps, or that they may have, or share a little bit of their parking without parking, without vehicles, can be good.
We can continue talking to them.
Okay, that'll be really good, thank you.
This, Dr. McGuire, we leased the park to ECTV, right, East Coast Tournament Baseball?
Yes, I believe that's
Okay.
it.
That lease has run out, hasn't it?
It's just been renewed,
It's been renewed.
For another 5 years.
For how many years?
3,
3 years?
4 years, I'm sorry, 4 years.
Okay. Uh-huh. Was there any discussion with DCTV officials about this?
Yes, I talked to Dylan, we talked to Dylan about it, yes.
Okay.
Okay, any further comments from council? Comments from the public? Please come up and state your name and address.
Good evening. Ryan Hunsicker, grandson of Earl Hunsicker, park's named after. Along with other capacities I'm in with the city, but tonight is basically as myself. So I have a couple questions. First of all, they say that if the swap doesn't occur, well, then why are we talking about a swap then? I mean, if the swap doesn't mean nothing, why are we talking about swapping land? That's one thing. The other thing is, I'm under the impression from, just the history of the park and the amount of seating, 4,600 seats in that facility. There was a requirement years ago that, hey, when you have a stadium of that size, you gotta have proper seating for that, proper parking for amount of spaces. That was a lot different back in the 70s, obviously, than it is today. But I don't think you really have definite plans in front of you to vote on this now. I mean, do you have the proper, what are they putting in? I mean, what is going on with this swap that's gonna infringe upon the park's capability of functioning? Buildings? What's going there? Something's gotta be going there, but they wouldn't want to swap. They would just utilize what they have. I mean, there's valuable questions to ask here, I think that you guys have to ask, and I think this should be tabled from this point forward until you get more answers on the details before you can move ahead and say, well, yeah, I support land. Don't get me wrong, I think our family supports land just as much as anybody else does, but there's, for what they want to do, I think we have to have a better understanding of what the implications are down the road. Because I don't think you're going to get another chance at a facility like that in the city ever again. Do you have any questions, John?
Did someone move? I was going to say, Mr. Hunsicker, the second part of your question, would you care to address that to Mr. Messinger and see what he would have to say about it? In essence, and this is my understanding, Mr. Messinger, but if you take that blue wedge, it is going to be into the ballpark. And there appears to be no doubt that Atlanta owns the land. So if nothing is done, the result will still be that land will be lost to the ballpark. That's my understanding.
I don't think we know enough about it though. Do we know enough about what they're asking? I mean, maybe you guys do. Maybe I'm just in the dark.
Ryan, let's be clear. They are going to put their fueling station in and their building and their structure for maintenance one way or another. They did not come to the city to say to do a land swap. We did, because when they came to us, we saw that left field was actually on their property. So we didn't want to see something, necessarily happen to the stadium where if they needed to do something on that property where it would be damaged. Secondly, in the front, with that, we were trying to get that front section of blue there so we could actually get some more parking. So let me be clear, that Lanta is going to be doing their work one way or another. Lanta is not going to be having that area open for the parking one way or another. We went to them and we said, while this is going on, please let us straighten this out and let's do a land swap so we don't have Lanta owning part of left field, and so we can try to reconfigure the parking lot a little bit in the front so we can get a little bit more parking. So they're going to build one way or the other. We're asking them to do this land swap.
And like I said, when that park was built, I was 8 years old. So my father had a lot to do with it. My uncle sitting in the back room, he had a lot to do with it. And I'm asking the questions now to get new people involved and get us kind of energized to ask the prudent questions that need to be asked. You know, and I guess my concern is how does this, you know, moving forward here, how do we get all the details on this? Is there, you know?
I'm a little confused. What details are you looking for? I mean, they
Well,
gotta
you
go-
say fueling station, but what does fueling station mean? Does that mean a three-story building the size that they put on the other end? Or does it mean a fueling station like you see at the Speedway or something? I don't know, you know? I guess I don't know.
Compressed natural gas fueling station that they're using for the buses. And then also looking at other service areas for their buses. And, you know, the plans are what the plans are. I mean, they're approved, they're gonna go along with the process. So, I mean, believe me, Brian, I understand what you're saying, and I have sympathy for it too. That's why we're trying to clear this up and get at least as much of the piece of the pie as possible.
You have been approved by the city, right? The plans yet, or they haven't brought it to the city yet?
They're in the process right
Yeah.
now. They're being.
But they're not doing anything, or they're not proposing anything that isn't viable for that piece of property. It's not like we can't continue to make them not do something so that way you can use their area park.
I have a question, if you don't mind. What would you do at play baseball? What would you do without a left field? I mean, you need,
You know,
you
like I said, I apologize. I'm not here to answer the questions of what I would do without left field. Obviously, you wouldn't play baseball there,
That's
obviously.
exactly right.
But,
I mean.
you know, what would you reconsider? I mean, I don't know the agreements that were signed back in the 70s with land at the time, or the county, because from what I understand, the county had a role in this too, back when they built that park, on how they were able to use that land.
But obviously,
And, you know,
I think
so-
Mr. Messinger has really explained exactly, we have nothing to do with this, that's Lantis property, and, the way I'm looking at it, if they take left field away from the park, that's what they're doing. That's my
I think you
opinion.
have to know more. That's my opinion. I think you should be knowing more about it. Yeah, but you should know what they're putting on. I mean, right, the fueling station. So like I said, is the fueling station, you know, 10 stories high? Is it free to find parking? What does it do? So I mean, thank you.
Thank you. Any further comments from the council?
Just a quick one, and, Mike, the quick one is, I'm sorry. It is basically, in regards to the filling station that he's concerned about, does it meet the musters in regards to environmental issues and things like that?
It is their land,
Well,
and
yeah.
they are authorized, I'm presuming they have compressed gas holding containers and cylinders in there. I presume it's authorized.
I don't know, I'm asking.
I don't know either.
That's what I'm asking.
They're going through the whole process, and they're capable of putting that system in.
Okay, so it's okay, it's not in
Our-
they're not in violation of anything?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're going through, my understanding is they're going through the process. They have the steps well known, and they're doing it, just like if you want to put up a hot dog stand there or something else that they're seeking to get at. To me, anyhow, it seems that the city has explained why they're doing, what are the foreseen advantages to the city population as a whole, meaning people who use that park and so on. That's what I'm hearing. But the other Mr. Hunsaker is here to speak.
Glenn Hunsaker, 19th and Island. As my brother said, I had some of the same questions. I know he's all say, you know, it seems viable that land's gonna do this one way or the other, but, you know, here again, council, you've got to ask the details. I don't think the land has presented enough details, and I know Mr. Messenger has said the city has not required this. They came to the land and asked to get some land back from them, but you need more details, you know. Now, maybe the fellow from Atlanta back here is gonna come up and present some more details. Questions like the fueling station. How are they gonna exit and enter the fueling station? They're gonna be driving through the existing parking lot of the park? You're changing the aesthetics of the park, basically what you're doing. Now, as far as that land in left field, down the third baseline, I think there's something with the county deed that was leased to the city, and I'm not sure, but that can be looked up in the records. You need to get more details before you vote in this stuff, you know. I don't think you have enough. Now, I'm not on council, but you need to press for more details. You can't take the word of the administration. I mean, we've seen the history of the administration, and we can't do that, you know. I advise you to table it till you get out to the park, walk the existing boundary that they're proposing to change, and look at left field, and get out there and walk it. Don't sit here without any details on the drawings and go by these. Matter of fact, the drawings that were put out online are vague, and I think that's the same drawing that was put in there. Now, obviously, this is a little clearer, but like Ryan said, what's the height of the building? What size building are you putting up? How many fueling stations you putting in there? Is this gonna lead to taking the rest of the park away? So, you know, you're changing the whole aesthetics. That park has not been managed right from day one when Pulaski took over as mayor. That park has deteriorated. Nobody's putting no money into that park. So that park can be utilized, and I'd like to ask Lindsay Taylor, has ETC been paying their rent on that park? I'm hearing they're behind in their payments. I'd like to see the financial statements on that leasing of the park. It's another issue, but anyway, thank you.
One more vote.
One final comment on this part.
Please come up
And if I can address the council a few minutes, I'm gonna make it short.
You have to state your name and address, sir.
Donald Hunsaker, Athletic Director, Allentown Patriots, one of the builders of Bicentennial Park. My father, back then, 40 years ago, built this park. I just have a few questions here because this was brought up the last minute and I didn't do my homework. The only thing I can recall, and questions I'd like to have answered, is at the time that the park was built, I'm the only understanding that there's a 100-foot section in here between Atlanta line that the county or so donated to the city to have this park built. And this was given from Atlanta at the time, maybe before Atlanta was created, I'm not sure if it was Atlanta, but the previous, whoever was doing it before, donated this 100-foot. And that is there today. And here a couple of years ago, about 3-4 years ago, when they wanted to come in with build this area, which they built on the other side, they wanted to build in this area, and we went through all this process about what it was gonna do to the park. And actually, down in this area down here, I can see where it would interfere with the park. So what I'm trying to figure out is this 100-foot, and whatever you're gonna do, but the thing is, let's have access at this rear gate. I'd like to know how that rear gate's gonna fit in there, and how far, much room would we take a look at it, or go and take a look at it, to see how much room is in there left for parking. They're not real big events there anymore. I think it can be worked out with a little compromise on both sides, and the issue would be completed. This isn't a real big deal here. I think we sat down at the table and worked it out, everybody go home happy. That's all I can tell you, but I think we should look into it a little bit more because of this 100-foot. That was given out, and you can look back on the original deed and see was this was a 30-year deal or 40-year deal or something, and maybe they want it back, which, you know, after 30, 40 years, things change. So, but let's make everybody agree we want to keep Bicentennial Park. It was built there for 76, for the Bicentennial, and I think it should stay there. And Atlanta, they did a good job by doing what they did. So I think we have to work it out. That's all I'm saying. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hanson.
Unless you have a question.
No,
Sure.
I'm finished. I'm going to address something to the city people here. Okay. Do either of you recognize this 100-foot existence of a lease or anything of that sort?
No, our chief surveyor, Brian Borzak, did the background on this, and it's their property.
Well, we're not, you understand, that's true.
I mean, obviously, if you have any other documents or anything that you'd wanna provide, I mean, please do, but I mean, from the documents that are, with the city, that's.
Because we went through this 3-4 years ago, when they wanted to build there, and it just didn't happen. We decided to build on the other side and let it ride. But as far as we know, that 100-foot still belongs to the city. I mean, now they want it back, that's what the battle's all about. But, I'm sure it's in the courthouse, recorded, all this stuff was recorded, so I'm sure they can find it.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Hunter. Any other comments from the public?
I have a question.
Please, Ms. Murray.
If we do this well, tell me the advantage once again. And are we losing the park?
No, this will not have any effect on losing the park at all. If anything, we are saving the park because we will regain, or we will gain ownership of the left field section. Without this happening, we don't have control over left field, that left field blue section there. So this will have a positive impact on keeping the stadium. Without this happening, we risk the loss of the stadium.
Okay, thank you.
When you say risk the loss of the stadium, you mean that piece of the stadium, left field, which then renders it less usable?
Well, yeah, without left field, I mean, you wouldn't necessarily be able to play baseball there if that section of left field is no longer in the playing field. If Atlanta decided they wanted to develop up to the property line, they would be able to develop up to the property line and you'd lose the stadium. I mean, you'd lose that part of the stadium and the effective use of the stadium for baseball purposes anyways.
I used to play a lot of baseball. There's a lot of left field and right field corners that's really weird. So, if you wouldn't want to play there, if you can avoid it. But it seems to me this has been pretty thoroughly researched by the city departments and surveyors and so on. So we're here into deep history if it seems to be the only thing. Any further comments from my colleagues?
I just want to give you the opportunity to Landa, if you want to say something, since you're already here.
Mr. Lancer. Please come up. State your name and connection.
My name is David Orton with Benoni Associates. We prepared the land swap plan.
Could you try that again?
My name's David Orton.
Yes.
From Benoni Associates.
Benoni?
Benoni Associates. We're the engineer that developed the land swap plan. I would just like to point out that the purpose of this plan, as has been stated, is for a land swap in what's called a minor subdivision. The land development pieces that the public is asking about is not part of this plan. Those are all separate applications for land development that are not subject of the topic tonight of the land swap. So, be happy to answer any questions you guys have, regarding, the plans that sits today.
You're saying that what they spoke about, the building that they're speaking about, is not part of the development?
That is not part of this plan. This plan is simply for a land swap. That's right. That is a separate plan, that will be subject to a separate review and, separate approval. Yes.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. Okay, any further comment?
So, yeah, 1 second. So if we do this, what are you planning to do with the park? Is it gonna be, renovated? Is it, are we gonna put money into it? Do you have any idea?
Well, that wouldn't be necessarily, planning and zoning. I don't know if Parks has anything to say, but I would mention that, we do have a 4-year lease on the site. We would continue to use it for baseball up until that point and for the foreseeable future.
Mrs. Taylor, I don't wanna put you in the spot, But can you please tell me, are there's any planning to, I don't know, to get this park a little bit better if we have ownership?
Yes, thank you. The new lease that was recently executed with the city requires ECTV to invest a minimum of $15,000 a year in improvements to the park, over and above their lease, in addition to their lease payments. And we will be meeting with them every year annually to go over the condition of the park and the improvements that are to be made. This was an addition, this is new to the new lease.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Miller.
All right, seeing no further public comments, Mr. Clerk, would you please call the roll, please?
So you want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion that we move it forward favorably to council.
Second?
Okay, motion to move it forward favorably. We have Mr. Greedy?
Yes.
Ms. Moda?
Yes.
Mr. McGuire?
Yes.
Chair, 3 yeas and no nays.
Okay, this concludes DC meeting. We will start our city council meeting immediately. And this will be, by the way, this is a 3-0 vote. It will go favorably to the entire council later this evening.
Here I am.
Okay, we're ready to go. Dr. McGuire, I'd like to, obviously, this is our first city council meeting for the month of March. March 1st, Dr. McGuire will say the invocation. Please rise for the invocation and remain standing for the pledge of allegiance.
As we gather together as a community and under laws, let us also recall the root of this particular day, which in Christian practice is called Ash Wednesday, which leads up to the season period of Lent, during which contemplation under the Old and New Testament is encouraged. Let us pray today that during this Lenten period, for our public purposes, that we do less talking and more listening. And we might be surprised at what we hear. Let us be directed in this matter.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Hanlon, Ms. Lau, welcome. Mr. Hanlon, please note that all members of council are present, except Mr. McLean, who is excused this evening. Welcome our controller, Mr. Glazer, and our solicitor, Ms. Lau. Courtesy of the floor, speaking as an individual, 3 minutes, speaking for association or group, 5 minutes. Hello, Mr. Hirschman.
Thank you, Mr. President. Drew Hirschman, 405 North Gilmer Street, Allentown, Pennsylvania. Before I ask a question on the bond issue, I see on the agenda this evening, or the bill number 12, you're taking money from the unappropriated balance of the general fund. Well, I put a right to know request in about a month ago. I think I sent you guys a copy of. How do you take money in the unappropriated balance if there's no money in the unappropriated balance? I think before you decide to do anything, you better find out from finance how much money is in the unappropriated balance, because under the right to know request, it says nothing. So you can't get 19,000 out of zero. Right, Mr. President?
I understand what you're saying, yeah. I'll follow you. Well, it's only going to be introduced tonight. We're going to put it in committee and then we're going to talk about it. Go ahead.
Since the city solicitor is here, in 2016 December, you guys voted for a bond issue, and it was to be settled in January 2017, if the rates were good and the money would be there that we would save. Could you tell me if city did say the money that was proposed on that 2016 bond issue refunding?
I don't know if that's a question for the solicitor, that would be a question for budget and finance. And we don't. Mr. Messenger is representing administration tonight, and Mr. Hartzell took a side door out, so, I don't know if Mr. Hartzell's coming back.
I think council was going to make a report on this bond issue, that were going to be savings that were proposed.
I did recall some of that. Mr. Messenger, please, let Mr. Hartzell know Mr. Hartzell's question, and that has to be answered when we see Mr. Hartzell again.
Okay, and will Mr. Hartzell come back to city council at the next meeting and give a report on that bond issue?
That's what, if you're asking that, I'm asking that for Mr. Messenger, passed on to Mr. Hartzell, so we get you an answer.
Because there was a big concern about the money that we're going to save.
I understand.
Okay, and then, from now on, we're gonna get on a report, we're gonna, a monthly report. Mr. Hartzell, you're gonna ask that question, from how much money we receive from NIZ zone. In other words, how much real estate taxes we got out of it.
How much money we getting out of the news?
I know the other place from the waste tax, we're not gonna get nothing, the state will grab their share with it. They take our money, and our money's gone. It's lost, okay. And one other question, finally, I don't have my budget. On the bottom, we're gonna take money from the CDBG fund, we're gonna get reimbursed our expenses. But we've been getting money from CDBG to city all these years. Why haven't we taken money from CDBG before for reimbursement of costs? And there's nothing showing in the general fund reimbursement from CDBG. Well, we're always getting money from CDBG, but for 2016 it shows zero, and for 2017 it's a couple $100,000. I think council should review it, why we weren't getting money possibly in 2016, why we're getting in 2017. And I'm looking forward to the cash reserve. And I think we should have maybe, did you have a private meeting on this? You said you were going to go to executive session?
We were going to go into executive session. We have not gone into executive session, but we did ask Mr. Hartzell and Ms. Wild to talk about the amount of money in the cash reserve.
Because when you're playing with cash reserve, you're playing with money, I think, set aside from our taxes and everything else to meet the daily obligations and salaries and everything else. And I think reducing the cash reserve and council not being involved, it's really getting really serious. Okay, well, thank you. So next month, next meeting, I could look forward to answers.
From Mr. Hartzell. And Mr. Messenger is taking fine notes over there for Mr. Hartzell. Or Mr. Hartzell. Yeah.
Is he taking shorthand or?
I don't know about shorthand. Anyone else? Mr. Heffensrader.
Ken Epichair, 214 North St. Cloud, and I represent the Downtown Tenant Association. We have decided to also start taking on some commercial properties that are visible out there. But the first one's at home. Nice, huh? That's right back in your place. Unfortunately, but it seems that the nice big white fence going around it has become a dumping ground, period. Back in that corner, I don't know, there's like 15, 16 television sets. There's like 8 mattresses on the property, washers and dryers. And also I had to call the building standards for the fact that front doors wide open, sliding doors wide open, and I watched 2 kids running out of there. This is a dangerous property. There's needles around the property also. I actually got hold of Mr. Jose Villa. Not very pleasant, didn't want to hear about it, hung up on me. Good. Well, I gave him this opportunity to clean it up before I come to you. I hope to God this is by the weekend it's cleaned up. I mean, this will make a dump truck load easily. That's ridiculous. And it's not, it probably most of it does come from the house, but I got a feeling now that neighbors are starting to add to it, because it's kind of funny how all against the fence line, there's a lot of stuff. So we'll go on to the next one now. And I noticed this property here, 413, 427 Union Boulevard. It's kind of, you can see it from if you go on the Google Streets and Google Earth and you home in on it, you can also really see it from executive charter schools. You look out the office of executive charter schools, there is trash piled at least 10, 15 feet high against the entire back fence, all the way down. They don't have trash pickup, they throw it out in the back of the property, because guess what? Who can see it? They don't care. The executive charter school sees it, probably don't think it, they don't care. This big property here, I'll guarantee you, I worked in waste management. I'll guarantee you this would take 50 garbage trucks to haul everything out of there. That's just pathetic. I don't care if it's a business or what it is, private property. There's a Gummy Bears daycare center is up in the front, and there's just all this trash just lines the canal. Take a look when you get out there, you get out, and just take a look down the canal from Union Boulevard, and you can really see it's just piles and piles of trash. And I don't know if they're open at their own transfer station, but I would have to say that they need a license for that. And this guy, 730 Hamilton. You tell me this guy doesn't make any money and he can't fix this? This is the only property in the 700 block of Hamilton that looks like a disgusting trash pit that should more like be farther in Center City. Boards over the windows. Why has nobody bothered this guy about this? He has enough attitude when something affects his property he doesn't like, but he sure the hell doesn't care about anybody that surrounds him. Last but not least, 139 West Court. I've called this thing repeatedly and it's yet to be touched. I don't get it. I gotta file a right to know to find out if anybody's going after it, because this has been like this for a very, very, very long time. As a matter of fact, up in the one corner there, apparently, the corner of the building here, there must be like 50, 60 bottles and about, I don't know, a couple dozen needles. I just find it atrocious. Now, let's get to the thing about a right to know. Earlier, we filed a right to know. We file hundreds of right to knows every year. We get it back. City says we don't have any information. We take it for the word. The last right to know we did, there had to be an answer. We got it back saying there's no answer. So we filed an appeal to the Office of Open Records in Harrisburg. Whoa, bang, we have an answer. Now, how much has this happened before? This is not the solicitor's office problem. All they get the right to know, they send it out to departments. I know they're doing their job. The departments are not doing their job. Not all the departments, because what I understand is there's a little conversation between a particular department head and somebody in the solicitor's office who then assured us afterwards that you will now be getting your answers promptly and respectfully. But you know, we filed probably in 5 years, we probably filed 1,000 right to knows. Hundreds of them coming back with no information. Now, how many of them was there information? But they decided to say no, and hopefully, as respectful as we've been, that we stay respectful. This one we couldn't, because what it was the Hall of Shame. When did we last meet? Who was there? No record, but yet, Pulaski, no problem going on Facebook telling you that in 2013, we put them in their car up there. Come on. Didn't deserve to be on that list one bit. And speaking of that list, my last 7 seconds, that list is still a joke. And I hope whoever becomes mayor rips it down or does it again, because remember, one's dead and the rest don't even own the property. And real quick, I'll be leaving here early because I'll be heading to the basketball game, so, go Allen. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Eppinger. Anyone else, curse to the floor? Curse to the floor. It looks like we have a trio coming up.
Good afternoon.
Name and address for the record.
Sharon Fraser, 25 North 11th Street in Allentown, Pennsylvania, 18501.
Okay.
I'm here today as a chairperson for the Martin Luther King Memorial. That's the memorial that's located at the corner of 4th and Martin Luther King Drive. And I think in 2011 it was dedicated and we transferred it to the city as part of the park system. And I'm here today just to inform you and hopefully get your support. We're in the process of making the memorial a little bit more interactive and friendly for neighbors and or visitors. We got a grant from Lehigh County last year that gave us $10,000 to hire a designer to do the interactive signage. And we're in the process of doing that. we've already had a meeting with the Parks Department to talk about this, and they were, like the project, and thought it would enhance the city. So I'm here in front of council today just to inform you about it and hopefully get your blessings. You were very instrumental in helping us name the Harry Roberts Plaza in 2011, so I figured it was just important that you know what else is happening with Monument over the next couple of years. And I also want to invite you to an event we're having. Jenna will give you, we have a thing called Stories That Shape a Nation that happened, started in 2015. This year is the final year, it's a 3-year collaboration between the Library of Congress and the Black Caucus and PBS 39 and some other organizations around. And we're going to be having our next event, the final event for this series on April 28th, and I hope you make it. And Nate Klein is our vice president of our organization. I can't leave him out, so make sure you know.
Oh, we know the major.
Yeah, yes. So that's all I have to say, just wanted to let you know about this.
Thank you, Sharon, for sharing it with us. And obviously, myself, and I'm sure all my colleagues support this. It's a wonderful place on earth. You can make it more interactive for the community.
That's the goal.
That's what we want.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Let's make it an active park instead of a passive park.
Instead of a passive park. That's the goal. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Hey, good seeing you. Jenna? Any other individuals for courtesy of the floor? Seeing none, let's move on. Approval of the minute by common consent? Yes. Any old business? Seeing none. Communications? Seeing none. Reports from committees. Budget and Finance, Mr. Garidi.
Budget and Finance, we met last week and we have a scheduled meeting for, my computer went off, but I think it's March 20.
Yeah, March 22nd, time to be determined.
Yep. And that's it. And the committee made a presentation last week and everything seems to be moving fine.
Thank you, sir. Community and Economic Development, Dr. McGuire.
Thank you, Chairman. We met this evening and we recommended a vote of 3-0 to move final passage on R34. We do not have a future meeting scheduled.
Thank you, sir. Human Resources Administration appointments, Ms. Appa.
Thank you, Mr. President. The committee has not met since the last council meeting, but the committee will meet on March 15th at 6:30 p.m. to review legislation being introduced this evening regarding the solicitor's office.
Thank you very much. Parks and Recreation, Ms. Moda.
Thank you, Mr. President. The committee met last week and forward legislation on this evening agenda. A future meeting is not yet scheduled.
Thank you very much, Ms. Moda. Public Safety, Mr. Hendricks.
Thank you, Mr. President. The committee has not met since last meeting. A future meeting is planned for March 15th, and that time to be announced.
Thank you, sir. Public Works, Ms. McLean, good to see you.
Mr. President, thank you. We have not met since the last meeting. We were actually scheduled for this evening, but due to a conflict, we had to change that. So we'll be meeting March 15th at 6:45.
Sounds good. Rules, Chambers, Intergovernmental Relations Strategy, that's my committee. The committee has not met since the last council meeting. The future meeting has not been scheduled. Mr. Glazer, you have a controller's report tonight.
I hate to disappoint you, but I do not. However, the next meeting, I will, should have 2 audits to discuss with council. And I would like to point out that a question was raised earlier about ECTV and whether they were current on their lease. Last year, the controller's office did a contract receivables audit, and for the years that we audited, which was 14 and 15, they were paying as agreed. We were about to start that process again for the calendar year that just passed, and when that audit's done, I will of course advise council.
Thank you, sir. Appointments, we have no appointments for this evening. Ordinance for final passage. Bill 6, Mr. Hanlon, read Bill 6.
Bill 6 amends the capital fund. It's a supplemental appropriation of $85,000 reflecting receipt of a grant from the Pennsylvania Department of Community and Economic Development for the planning and development of a park along Main Street.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Moda, this was in your committee last week. Want to give a brief overview?
Yes, it passed favorably 2-0. Mr. Hendricks and Ms. Affa and myself, we went and we actually saw Basin Street and with Ms. Lindsay. And it was very interesting seeing what they're planning to develop. Mr. Lindsay? Can you tell us a little bit about Bill 6?
Yes, thank you. Yes, thank you. Bill 6 is an appropriation to reflect the grant we received of $85,000 from DCED through their Greenways Trails and Recreation Program grant. The funds represent what we will use them for will be to develop a master plan and a remediation plan for the Basin Street and incinerator property, working in a cooperation with ACETA that owns the incinerator property.
Can you tell us again about how many acres are we talking about?
I believe it's approximately 28 acres when you add the two parcels together, with about 8 of those acres identified as potential development by ACETA. The remainder of the two properties will be developed as parkland.
Okay?
Okay,
And you said it was passed favorably 3-0 last week.
It was.
Any comments from my colleagues about the Bill 6? Mr. Brady.
Just a quick comment. There used to be like a net flood zone kind of thing, and have there been any, redevelopment there, or not redevelopment, or trying to fix that so it won't be in a flood zone, or that there's any drainage there that has been put on at all?
Some of the property in that total 28 acres is in the floodplain. Obviously, when they're looking at the improvements that they're doing, we'll be keeping them out of those areas.
Can you,
Mr. Brady, any further?
I'm done.
Ms. Moda, back to you.
can you please share about what are they planning to do? Because you, when we met, you mentioned that they're trying to develop it to be able to build more jobs. You mentioned, speak a little bit more about that.
Certainly, the ultimate goal of working with ACETA is that they've been wanting to develop that part of the parcel, the incinerator property that is developable for an industrial purpose, and their goal is to provide jobs for city residents that meet that the workforce can use and can take advantage of. So ideally, if they can develop, the goal is, or the goal is that we'd be able to develop the property to do both. The residents would be able to walk to the park and take advantage of a park that will link to virtually in future every trail system in the city, and they will also be able to walk to work.
And again, who's going to be the one maintaining this park?
Once it would be developed, the parkland would be the responsibility of the city. The industrial area would be the responsibility of whoever owns or manages the industrial site.
Thank you.
Any other comments from my colleagues? Ms. Apple, go ahead.
You.
Are you sure? I just want to say that.
No, just you.
Oh, he's yielding. That along with Mr. Hendricks and Ms. Moda, we did look at the property. It's an impressive plan that we're going to have to see the property the way it is now. And the plans for the property are very impressive. Aside from developing jobs and developing all that, we'll have a small park system. We'll have the, it's just a blighted property right now that's going to, in the future, look beautiful. And I, for one, really enjoyed listening to what you had to say about it.
Mr. McLean.
Yeah, I just have a question. It says it's 85,000, and I know we're getting this from the state, but it's for development, planning and development of the park along Basin Street. How much development are we getting for that 85,000?
Well, the idea it's Basin Street, the Basin Street parcel, the incinerator parcel that is the parkland, and the idea is it'll be a master plan, hopefully a remediation plan, because these are brownfields that have had phase 1 and phase 2 evaluations completed, and assorted soil testing. So hopefully, by the time we're done, we will be ready to move to the cleanup portion of the program, of course, when funds are available for that.
Okay, so we're talking mostly testing,
Testing in the planning.
preliminary work, right?
Also, if ideally, of course, if it's a percentage grant, 85,000 is DCED, $15,000 city match, so it's 80-20 match. If the prices come in lower, then the grant amount would be lower and the city match would be lower.
All right, thank you.
Mr. McLean, you are finished, sir. Ms. Mota, back to you.
Again, can you please explain to me, this park is connected to what?
Well, the idea is the incinerator was identified in the Connecting Our Communities Trail Plan. It's called Auburn Cross Trails, really. And that is the trail hub for the city trail network, where eventually the Cedar Creek, Lehigh Parkway, MLK Trail, the Jordan Creek Greenway Trail, the Trout Creek Greenway Trail, and a link to the DNL Heritage Trail will all converge at Auburn Trail. So if you could go ideally anywhere in Lehigh County from Auburn Trail.
Thank you.
Any other comments from my colleagues? Comments from the public? Seeing none, Mr. Allen, call the vote on Bill 6.
Ms. Kappa?
Yes.
Mr. Garidi?
Yes.
Mr. Hendricks?
Yes.
Mr. McLean?
Yes.
Mr. McGuire?
Yes.
Mota?
Yes.
And Mr. O'Connor?
Yes. Thank you, Ms. Taylor. Bill 9, Mr. Hanlon.
Bill 9 amends capital fund to provide for a supplemental appropriation of $12,000 reflecting receipt of a grant from the Century Fund for the repairs and refurbishing of the West Park Mountain.
Ms. Mota, this was in your committee last week also, so want to give us a brief overview?
Yes, it was passed favorably, 3-0. Mrs. Taylor, can you please tell us a little bit more?
The cast iron fountain that was in West Park was removed and sent to Alabama for complete restoration. The total cost to restore the fountain will be just under $43,000. The $12,000 Century Fund grant will be used to offset those costs. We expect the fountain to be back and ready to go very shortly, mid-April.
And one of the questions, why was it shipped so far?
Well, they were the sole bidder on the project, and they have an extensive resume of restoration projects, outstanding resume of restoration projects. So their work is well respected, and again, they were the sole bidder.
What was the dimension?
I'm sorry?
The size?
The size of the fountain? That I do not know. I can get that for you, but I
And
don't know.
you did mention that you had to put it apart, right?
Yes, we did have
Take it
to
apart.
load it onto the trailer. It had to be dismantled and into pieces to be loaded on the trailer, yes, for transportation.
Any feedback as to how it's looking so far? Have you received any pictures? I know that it's not done yet, but.
Yeah, the foundry has been sending pictures, Robinson has been sending pictures up to Rick of the progress, and it's coming along very well.
Okay, that's good to know. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Mota. Any other comments from my colleagues? Seeing none, comments from the public? Seeing none, Mr. Allen, call the vote on Bill 9.
Mr. Grady?
Yes.
Mr. Hendricks?
Yes.
Mr. McLean?
Yes.
Mr. McGuire?
Yes.
Ms. Mota?
Yes.
Mr. O'Connor?
Yes. Thank you, Ms. Taylor. A resolution for final passage. Mr. Hanlon, R34.
R34 authorizes the administration to enter into a land swap with the Lehigh and Northampton Transportation.
Thank you, sir. Dr. McGuire was in your committee this evening, not too long ago. So you want to give an overview?
There was discussion back and forth with the public as well as city staff members, and we voted to recommend this 3-0.
Okay, thank you, sir. Comments from my colleagues on R34? Comments from the public on R34? Mr. Hunsinger? Again, name and address for the record.
Glenn Hunsicker, 19th and Highland. Once again, I recommend you table this. I think you're going to be moving fence lines, boundary lines. We heard here at the end of this that we don't know what type of building is going to go on that property that they're proposing behind the grandstand. I think you need more information and then proceed. Doesn't do any harm to table it before you know enough information on it. I mean, I hear a couple council people people say, yeah, they have enough information. If I was on council, no, you don't have enough information. You need to table it, you need to get out there, you need to look at it and see exactly what the boundary lines are. And was there a title deed done in this? A survey done in this?
Yes.
There was?
Yes.
Does council have any of that information in front of them? I don't believe so. Do you have the paperwork showing that? Do you have any of that? You're taking their word. I know you're taking their word, but let's get the paperwork in your hands before you vote on this kind of stuff. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other comments from the public? Mr. Hanlon, we will call a vote on R34.
Okay, on the land swap, Mr. Hendricks,
Yes.
Mr. McLean,
No.
Mr. McGuire,
Yes.
Ms. Moda,
Yes.
Mr. O'Connor,
No.
Ms. Zappa,
Yes.
and Mr. Greedy.
Yes.
There are 5 yeas and 2 nays.
Thank you, sir. R46.
R46 authorizes the submission of a redevelopment assistant capital grant for Cedar Crest College athletic field renovations in the amount of $1 million, and this will eventually be simply a pass-through.
Pastor Grant, RCAP. Anyone want to speak about it from the administration?
Just basically that, as Mike had said, this is a pass-through grant. They actually changed a little bit of their style of how they actually do, I call it RCAP grants, where they actually get sort of like a pre-approval of the project prior to the fact of actually filling out all of the final details of the paperwork. So at this point in time, for them to fill out the paperwork where they actually did receive the point where that they're gonna receive these funds, they need a resolution to go to them first, along with the paperwork that they're filling out now.
These are pass-through grants, RCAP, okay?
Yes.
Well, obviously, it's like we just go with the flow. We say, you know, I mean, we've had it for Building 21, and we have it for Muhlenberg College. Now we got it for Cedar Crest College, and it's just like, if we would hypothetically vote no, what happens?
Well, it's a requirement of the RCAP grant to have the local government actually submit this and run it through as a pass-through. So this would, in turn, put them in a bad situation as far as actually being able to get these funds.
$1 million to improve their athletic fields? Do you know how many athletic fields they have on their property? How many?
I just know that there's many, but $1 million, yes. Well, I would imagine part of it too is the special turfs, the drainage part of it. I mean, there's a whole long list of things that they have to do with stormwater improvements for the area for what they're doing. So it's a lot more than technically just doing fields.
Okay.
There's a lot more in the background than just like if we would think that they're just building a field.
Okay. Any other comments from my colleagues? Any comments from the public? Mr. Hanlon, call a vote on R46.
Okay, on the application, Mr. McLean.
Yes.
Can let's, don't go yet, okay?
I withdraw my vote.
Yeah, so, I'm sorry, Roger, I'm being rude to you, I'm sorry. Is it fair to have a follow-up on this? What they do with $1 million?
Oh,
I
yeah.
see, from Cedar Crest College?
Of course. Yeah, I mean, they're gonna be filling out, like I said, it's almost like they have pre-authorization for this.
Mhm.
They're gonna be pretty much, submitting more of their plans, but yeah, I don't see why there wouldn't be an issue that you'd be able to see what they're actually proposing.
Okay, I'm going to play the more political role now. And I think I know the answer, but help me. Who recommends RCAP grants?
Who recommends it?
The state?
The state does.
Okay. Would it be our local representatives?
I would imagine part of it would probably go through there, yes.
Could be DCNR,
Yeah.
Okay. 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 all right.
Funding becomes available and then people
You grab the
put
money.
in for, you know, projects that they're looking for. And obviously, like even when we're going out for a grant, we ask for assistance for maybe, some of the local reps to actually give their, give their recommendation for it.
That's fair. Okay, now, Mr. Hamlin, call the vote on R46.
Excuse me, Mr.
Oh,
President, since you're opening it back up.
Yeah, go ahead, go, be my guest.
This $1 million is coming from the state. We're just passing it off to Cedar Crest College.
That's it.
Granted, there are some of our tax dollars in that $1 million money, but we can look at it that it's coming back home to Allentown, but it's costing Allentown nothing other than the administrative time to handle this grant.
Correct.
I think it's only in permission to file the application.
No, I'm fully aware of that, I'm fully aware of that. I just, in the back of my mind, I wanna, what have you done for me lately? That's in the back of my mind. Okay, that's any institution, that could be a nonprofit, could be Muhlenberg College, could be Building 21, could be Alpha School District, just happens to be Cedar Crest College, that's just my own personal opinion. What have you done for me lately? Okay, okay, let's call the vote, Mr. Hamlin.
Yeah, you actually appropriate this money too in an ordinance.
What's that?
You actually appropriate this money too in an ordinance.
It's already there, yeah, I'm just being difficult.
You get another?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know.
Can I really vote now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes.
Mr. McGuire? Yes. Ms. Moda?
Yes.
Mr. O'Connell?
Yes.
Ms. Zappa?
Yes.
Mr. Reedy?
Yes.
Mr. Hendricks?
Yes.
Thank you, okay. Ordinance for introduction, Bill 1.
Amends the general fund budget to provide for supplemental appropriation of $15,000 from the Commonwealth as a result of a grant for fire department training equipment.
Okay, thank you, sir. Comments from my colleagues? Comments from the public? Mr. Hendricks, that's yours.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Bill 12, Mr. Hamlin.
Bill 12 amends the general fund budget by deleting the position of administrative assistant and adding the position of litigation paralegal and aid ed in the law office.
Thank you. Comments from my colleagues? Comments from the public? Ms. Affa, that'll be going to your committee.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
All right, no, that's all right. Bill 13.
Bill 13 amends the grant fund budget to provide for a supplemental appropriation of $1 million from the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania Office of Budget Redevelopment Capital System Project to the city of Allentown as a pass-through grant to Cedar Crest College for the athletic field renovation.
Get another bite of the apple, huh? Okay. Comments from my colleagues? Comments from the public? Mr. Caridi, Budget and Finance.
We will look at it very carefully.
Resolution for introduction, there are none. Any new business?
I just want to put out, I think you said Bill 1 for Bill 11. So just to be clear in the record, that it's Bill 11.
11, Bill 12, Bill 13. Yeah, make sure that's taken care of on
In the record.
yeah.
Yeah.
Resolution for introduction, I said there were none. Any new business? There was none. Good and welfare, I think we're all gonna go to basketball game. Anything else for good and welfare? This meeting is adjourned. Have a good evening. Go Canaries.